2024 is slipping away. November is almost here, and the November issue of Down East magazine is now out. It has an eye-catching cover, and with us to talk about that cover story and more is the editor-in-chief, Will Grunwald. Good to have you here. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, good to be here.
So let's talk about this cover story. It's about night skies in Maine, a stargazer's guide to the state. Great photos in here. What are we trying to do with this general article, Will?
Yeah, for sure. So, I think it's pretty fair to say that in the past year, there's a big increase in interest in celestial happenings, thanks to the eclipse and frequent appearances of the northern lights all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So we figured it was a good moment to put together this guide to viewing the night sky in Maine.
You're absolutely right. This is something that comes up now in conversations in a way that it didn't 5, certainly 10 years ago. So this is stuff that people are interested in. You've got a lot of information here. You got some great tips from photographer Ben Williamson on how to shoot the night skies. You also have information on some of the best places to go in Maine to see the night skies without light pollution. What are some ideas there?
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, we're lucky that it could just be your backyard, right? Maine's a pretty dark place relative to most of the country, but there are some really spectacular places to go that have dark sky designations from this nonprofit that considers these sorts of things. One is up in the Appalachian Mountain Club's 100-mile wilderness property, Katahdin Woods and Waters National Monument. Those are two especially spectacular places to go.
And those are places that are about as good as any place you will find in the continental United States. So we're really fortunate to have those here in Maine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another feature in the November issue is a look at the history of boat building in Maine, and this is kind of a different approach. You wrote the article. Well, what did you want to convey?
Yeah. So, in part, just given the time of year, I think people think of boat season kind of ending. The harbors are emptying out a little bit right now. But the reality is there is no boat season in Maine because people are building boats here all year round. It's a huge part of the economy. So we kind of took the moment to reflect on the history of Maine boat building, especially through looking at several iconic styles of boats that developed here. So starting with Wabanaki canoes, through Peapods, Friendship sloops, and the modern lobster boat.
And you have a nice line in the article that caught my eye of how, to a significant degree, the history of boat building is the history of Maine.
Oh, very much, yeah. And I think a cool thing about all 4 of those styles of boats is that they developed as working boats, but such was the craftsmanship and care put into them that they've also evolved into pleasure boats for a lot of people. And I think that kind of is Maine craftsmanship in a nutshell,
Let's finish up with a look that you take in this issue at Sears Island. I can remember doing stories on Sears Island when I was a reporter in the 1980s. It's an undeveloped, uninhabited piece of land off of Searsport. There have been various uses that have been proposed for it over the decades. What is the latest controversy and how do you look at it?
Right, yeah, it feels like we may have finally reached the pivotal moment in the story of Sears Island, which is a long saga. What's going on now is kind of an interesting, on the one hand, it looks on a certain level like the classic conflict between developers and environmentalists. But the wrinkle in this case is that a lot of the pro-development camp is also environmentalists. So what's happening is there's a proposed site for an offshore wind energy port where you could build these massive floating turbines that would require disrupting this otherwise pretty pristine place. If you are mostly concerned about combating global warming, there's a really good argument for building this port. If you're concerned about preserving natural spaces and habitat, there's a really good case for not building it. And that's what the story kind of examines.
Yeah, it's a vigorous debate, and the article takes a good look at all sides of it. We will leave it there. Will Grunwald, a pleasure as always. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks,
Again,
Rob.
it's the November issue of Down East, and it's available now. Check it out. It's in stores throughout the state. And stay with us. We will be back with more of 207 right after this.